Hello there, I'm Evelyn Stonebridge. Ever find yourself tangled in the same frustrating relationship scenarios over and over again? Like a rerun of a show you didn't enjoy the first time? Maybe it's those lingering arguments about not feeling heard or getting drawn to the same kind of partner who breaks your heart. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Here's the thing, repeating relationship patterns can feel downright exhausting. They leave us asking, why do I keep ending up here? Today we're going to unravel that mystery. We'll journey into the emotional habits that keep us looping and discover how to finally break free. Consider this a practical roadmap, plus a bit of myth-busting, about why our minds cling to these patterns and how we can rewire them. Grab a cup of tea, settle in, and let's dive deep. Picture this. You promise yourself, next time, I'll pick someone totally different. Or you vow to handle conflict in a calmer, kinder way. But a few months later, you're right back where you started. Maybe stuck in the same heated argument or blindsided by that creeping feeling of being unappreciated. It's almost as if there's an invisible force drawing you towards certain behaviors, even when you know better. Why does this happen? Well, there's a psychological concept called familiar discomfort. We'd rather cling to something predictable, even if it hurts us, than risk the unknown. It sounds counterintuitive, right? But the human mind values safety above everything else. If something feels known, no matter how harmful, we keep repeating it because part of our psyche whispers, at least you know what to expect. Here's another twist. We often don't recognize our part in the pattern. It's easy to blame the other person. My partner is always too distant, or they never listen. But if every partner or friend gives off the same vibe, it's time to ask, is there a cycle I'm unconsciously repeating? That question can feel unsettling, but it's the first step toward freedom. Let's dig a little deeper. Often, repeated relationship patterns trace back to older emotional wounds, perhaps from childhood or our earliest experiences of love and safety. Imagine you grew up watching your parents fight about tiny issues that escalated into big blowouts. Or maybe you had a caregiver who was distant or critical. Over time, you might have absorbed the belief, love is inconsistent, or I have to work extra hard for approval. Those beliefs become like a program running in the background, shaping the way you react and the kind of partners or friends you choose. It's not always logical. Your adult self might think, I deserve a supportive partner. But your subconscious can be stuck in this is what I deserve or this is how relationships work. Funny story. When I was a teenager, I had a friend who would always date people who took advantage of her kindness. She'd swear each time, never again. But 3 months later, there she was, playing therapist for another person who gave little in return. It was like she was magnetically drawn to people who needed constant rescuing. Eventually, she realized she grew up in a home where she had to please everyone to feel accepted. That habit stuck with her, like an old piece of luggage, until she learned how to set boundaries and believe in her worth. So how do you spot these patterns in your own life? Start by noticing emotional triggers. Do you feel a sudden surge of insecurity when your partner doesn't text back right away? Do you get defensive or shut down the moment you sense criticism? Those moments usually point to deeper wounds. Another indicator is repeated conflict scenarios. Maybe every relationship hits a snag around the 3-month mark, when you sense a partner pulling away, or you find excuses to withdraw, or maybe you're drawn to emotionally unavailable people again and again. Ask yourself these questions. 1. What emotions flare up the most in my relationships? Jealousy, fear, anger? 2. When do I feel tempted to run or sabotage? Right after an intense argument? The moment things start looking serious? 3. Who do I keep attracting or avoiding? Emotionally distant? Controlling? Always needing to be saved? These are your breadcrumbs. They lead you straight to the patterns that need unraveling. But here's the twist. Even when we identify these patterns, many of us stay stuck. Why? Because acknowledging a pattern doesn't automatically fix it. It's kind of like noticing that your posture is slouched. You still have to do the work of sitting up straight day after day until it becomes second nature. There's also a psychological payoff to staying in the familiar. Sometimes we get comfort from playing out old roles like a caretaker or a martyr. Or We fear losing the only dynamic we've ever known. If we break the pattern, who are we? That unknown can feel scary. So our subconscious says, better the devil you know than the devil you don't. Yet staying in a loop ultimately leads to frustration and heartbreak. Many of us hit a moment of crisis, a big breakup, a betrayal, an emotional rock bottom, that forces us to confront the real issue. But the good news is you don't have to wait for a meltdown. You can begin the process of change right now just by understanding the why behind these cycles. Change begins with recognizing that you play a central role in your relationship experiences. This isn't about blaming yourself. It's about realizing you have more power than you think. We can't control other people's behaviors, but we can control our responses and choices. Here's one approach. Start a pattern journal. Each time a conflict arises or a familiar frustration pops up, jot down what happened, who was involved, and how you felt. Then ask, is this part of a recurring theme? Over time, you might spot an emotional blueprint repeating itself. Imagine you notice a pattern of feeling unheard. That might reveal a deeper belief. My needs don't matter. Once you see that, you can work on speaking your needs clearly without apology. Or maybe you uncover a fear of abandonment that makes you cling too tight. Recognizing it lets you practice trusting your resilience, learning that if someone leaves, you'll still stand strong. Self-awareness is that shining flashlight that reveals the path out of the cave. Now let's talk actual strategies. 1. Set boundaries and communicate them. If your pattern involves people-pleasing or overextending yourself, practice gentle but firm no statements. For instance, if your partner expects you to drop everything at their convenience, have a calm conversation about what's realistic for both of you. 2. Challenge your core beliefs. The real culprit often lurks in phrases like, "I'm unworthy," or "real love always hurts." When you catch these beliefs, replace them with a truer statement like, "I'm worthy of mutual respect," or "love can be supportive and nurturing." It may feel cheesy at first, but repetition helps rewire your subconscious. 3. Seek support beyond yourself. This might mean counseling, coaching, or even a trusted friend who can gently call you out when you're slipping back into old habits. We're not meant to do this alone. Sometimes a neutral perspective can highlight what we're too close to see. 4. Practice emotional regulation. When that old trigger flares, maybe you feel the surge of panic or anger. Pause and take 3 slow breaths. Then ask, what am I really feeling right now? It could be fear of rejection or a sense of shame. Name it and remind yourself this reaction is part of an old story you're learning to leave behind. 5. Visualize new patterns. It sounds simple, but the brain can't distinguish strongly envisioned experiences from real ones. Spend a few minutes each day picturing yourself handling conflict with calm or choosing a partner who respects your boundaries. Over time, you'll find it less daunting to act that way in real life. The key is practice. You can't fix something this deep overnight, but every small change creates momentum. As you start to shift these patterns, you might feel raw. Emotional healing isn't always glamorous. Sometimes it stirs up old sadness or anger you didn't realize you were holding. But that's a sign of progress. It's like cleaning out a cluttered attic. First, it's messier than ever, but soon you see open space where the junk used to be. Also, give yourself grace. When you slip, and you might, don't beat yourself up. Think of it like learning a new language. You'll stumble over words until they become familiar. One day, you'll look up and realize you've had a calm conversation about a tough topic without falling into your old trap of self-blame or defensiveness. That's real victory. And remember, by transforming your patterns, you're not just improving your own relationships, you're also modeling a healthier way of loving for the people around you. We've all experienced that friend who steps into their power and suddenly influences everyone else to aim higher. That can be you, radiating self-awareness and emotional strength. There you have it, a deep look into why we get stuck in repeating relationship patterns and how we can finally step off that endless carousel. Change may not come quickly, but each small step lights the path to healthier, more fulfilling connections. Think of it as an investment in your future self, a future you who's tired of the same old heartbreak, who's ready to experience love, trust, and genuine connection in a fresh way. If you're ready to dive even deeper into healing those old wounds, I've got a recommendation that could help you unwind and process on a more subconscious level. Head over to this channel's Healing Relationship Wounds Guided Sleep Meditation. It's a 3.5-hour deep dive that's designed to gently reprogram those nagging beliefs that keep you stuck. Put it on as you drift off tonight, and let your mind absorb the healing energy while you rest. I'm Evelyn Stonebridge, reminding you that there is a brighter, freer version of love out there, and you have every right to claim it. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.